From Craig Rolson in Europe, David Gerber in Brazil, and our editor-in-chief and publisher, Don Oshman, it's time for this week's Sunday Night Week in Review.
Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the HideNet United States, Latin America, and Europe, and This Week in Leather Market Reports. My name is Don Oshman, editor-in-chief of HideNet Publications, and it's Sunday, October 5th, 2014. In Europe this week, our European editor, pardon me, technical problems because we're out of our studio, we're in California tonight. In Europe, there was growing resistance. Craig Rolson, our European editor, wrote that the growing resistance to high prices in Europe. There's been resistance, but people have been buying. But now they seem to have some of that buying again. A lot of pushing and shoving by suppliers and by producers. Echo is an article about how Echo is growing in China. There's a report on, as there always is, UK and Irish markets, how they are basically stable, and a lot of containerized business from the EU to, or UK, from the EU to China was curtailed because of Golden Week. In fact, markets all over the world were curtailed because of Golden Week, which was a Chinese national holiday. And in all conditions, all situations, all origins, everybody has a cell phone today, okay? So if a Chinese tanner wanted to buy something, he could have, but they were all closed for Golden Week and they chose not to buy. However, Korea was open, Taiwan was open, other major destinations were open, Italy was going open, but there was not enough interest, at least in many countries, to clean up the production. We'll talk about that in the North American markets coming up next. Good article, Craig writes about the vealskin production and the demand and supply of vealskins, where that's going, where it's been. And our forecasts are very, very accurate, probably 75, 85% of the time. Another reason to subscribe to HideNet Market Reports wherever your interest happens to lie, vis-a-vis Europe or South America, etc. The bull market seems to have plateaued, Craig writes, in Latin America. In Europe. They didn't go up, but they didn't go down, but they seem to have hit a level where the automotive tanners had it maybe up to here a little bit and don't want to support it any further. So that market plateaued. Will the next step be down? Read the report and you'll see. Craig also writes about the EU sheep and lamb report markets, which are still in the doldrums, and now more and more people have been and continue to pile up skins. If they can't keep them, they put them in the pickle, whatever it takes. It's very, very, very cheap, comparatively cheap leather-making material. So speculators are putting those away in the hopes of making a good profit in the future. In North America this week, again, like I just explained, Golden Week hampered American trade tremendously. And if they wanted to buy, they would have, but they apparently did not. In addition to that, there was the United States Hideskin and Leather annual meeting in Chicago, where a great deal of the trade attended, in a hot market that does not impede trading. In a quiet market or a so-so market, or perhaps a market that's on the verge of going lower, it did impede trading, and it's our sense that far less hides were sold than were produced, hides and wet blue. So the market was extremely quiet in the United States this week. Steers were steady to a little bit softer. Again, had there been more buying and more trading, they probably might have gone down, but you can read about that in the report. Cow market, branded cows especially, are looking for bids. And if they got some bids within close to their asking price, I think business would have transpired, but there weren't any. Slaughter continues to be 7.1% below production, below last year. And but this week, at least, based on export figures for the period ending September 24th, shipments and sales exceeded production. That's been a long time since that's happened. So that means September 25th, business was good enough that sales and shipments exceeded the slaughter, which I think was 572,000 for the period. Latin America this week, Brazil seems to be quiet and stable. A lot of resistance coming from Italy, and of course nothing from China this week. Argentine market was firmer, continued low slaughter, and improved demand, not only just for automotive leathers, which is a big deal, of course, in Latin America and Argentina, but improved footwear business as well. And a very good article how CICB, the Brazilian Tanners Association, has taken the bull by the horns, as we said, and gone store to store in Novo Hamburgo to educate sellers, people who produce leather products, about what they're selling. educate the consumer, which is a terrific thing, and hopefully will be expanded. And as we editorialize, it would be great if every association went to the consumer to tell them about the great properties and advantages of having leather. Our This Week in Leather report, which comes out on Wednesday, which might surprise many, there's information on the China light leather statistics, which shows that they're still increasing production in China. This is aside from the Xinji, from the Hebei area, from all the pollution shutdowns. They still have done more business in the first 6 months of this year and the summer than they did the year before. So that business is still growing, whether for domestic use or export. Also, there's a very good report on the 2017 Chinese footwear outlook. And another interesting thing about Nike, how they're really expanding their business, not all footwear. And their growth set a record this quarter. So Nike's doing terrific. Also, a very interesting report on Vietnam, where their business continues to expand and their exports. And a little bit of plug before we close tonight. The HydeNet International Report is ready. You can sample it at HydeNet.com. It carries a little bit of information on a lot of countries, 15, 16 countries, but you can get a blurb about what's going on in many, many places and maybe some opportunities. So we urge you to go to HydeNet.com and get a free trial to our international report. That's about it for tonight. We'll be back in Scottsdale, Arizona for our next edition next Sunday, and we want to thank you for watching. Good night.